All right, so question 8 in the CSEC paper 2, they are bringing graphs of functions. Graphs of functions can be either the maximum or the minimum graph. Now, in question 8, they are bringing a function just like what we have here, and you are expected to find the missing values. Now, if you notice, some of the values are given and some you have to find. So you are to use your calculator because this doesn't take long. You are to use your calculator and you are making a substitution for x. So wherever you see x, first you're going to replace it with 0, then 1, then 6. So let us use our calculator. We have to find f of 0. So in the calculator, you are putting 3 plus 5 by 0 minus 0 squared, right? Because the function f of x is defined as 3 plus 5x minus x squared. So go ahead, put in the values in the calculator. You're finding f of 0. The next one we are going to find f of 1. So we just simply replacing x with a number, and the number is given from the list of x values in our table, right? So we have to find f of 4. So we are simply replacing x with 4. And for the last one, f of 6, we are simply replacing x with 6. So take a couple minutes, use your calculator, right? You don't have to do any big setup work. Again, this is 2 marks. So you get half mark for each correct answer. So you are getting graphs of functions. This can be a minimum curve or a maximum curve. You are getting a table of values where you have to insert the missing values, right? Does anybody have the values ready and they like to share it? All right, does anybody want to share the values? When x is 0, what value did you get? 3. When x is 1?
7.
7. That is correct. When x is 4?
7.
Yes. And finally, when x is 6?
-3.
-3. Could anybody else confirm those answers?
Yes, miss.
Right. So there's no room for error. They gave you the function and you have to find the respective f of x value. So this 2 marks is within our reach. There's no reason why each and every one of you should not be able to get these 2 marks. We just have to substitute the value for x, and that will give us the corresponding value. Now, we have achieved our 2 marks, so we're going forward. Some of the points are plotted for you. Now, I want to point out that x squared is negative. So let's write that. X squared is negative. So our graph is going to take this form, an upside down U, right? And this point here is going to be called a maximum point. So x squared is negative, so we have a maximum curve. So take that down, we want to point out that. All right, do we have that?
Yes, miss.
All right, so let's see the marks. So 3 marks. So right away, by just filling in this table, we will get 2. And by plotting this graph here, we get 3 marks. So we have achieved our goal of getting at least half the marks per question. So you see how easy it is to get marks in question 8. So the points are plotted, and the points that you are going to plot is the ones that you worked out. So 0, 3, 1, 7. So let's write it to the side here. 0, 3, 1, 7, 2, 9, 3, 9, 4, 7, 5, 3, and 6 minus 3. So I want you to get your graph book ready, and we are going to plot these points. So it will help us if we draw the graph to understand it better. So go ahead. Get your graph book ready. If you don't have a graph book, that's fine. Use your ruler and pencil. I want you to draw the Cartesian plane 1 cm equal to 1 unit on each axis. And you have to plot these points so we get a U shape. So go ahead. So on my graph, this point is plotted. The 2 value is plotted, the 3 value is plotted, the 5 value is plotted. So the missing 2 is the ones that I am going to plot. So take a minute. And let us plot the graph. This one as well is drawn. -1. So we do have 1, 7. This one. So I'm going to plot 0, 3. I am going to plot 1, 7. I am going to plot 4, 7. All right, so I'm giving you some time to draw the graph because that's the only way you're going to understand it. So go ahead and draw the graph.
Finish,
When
miss.
you are finished, yeah, we are trying to draw a smooth curve. 0, 3, 1, 7. So I have this. All right. Brenda, let me call in, please. Brittany, sorry. All right, so we're going to draw a smooth curve. Notice it's going to be slightly, we're going to have a maximum point. So we're going to peak here. We could let Nisha in as well. So we're going to take our time and draw a smooth curve. Take your time. If you have to erase some of the lines, go ahead. But the curve is supposed to be a smooth curve. 6 minus 3, I didn't plot that one. So that is this point here. We coming straight down. Right. So this is what we call a maximum curve. And this is graphs of function. This is one of the curves that they say they can bring. They could bring the maximum or they can bring the minimum, which is a U shape. All right, do we have that?
Yes, miss.
All right, so if you notice, just for using the calculator, we scored 2 marks. And just for plotting some points, we got 3 marks and drawing the curve. So that is really good. We could have scored 5 marks there without any level of difficulty. And this is what we are looking for in the mathematics paper too. Write down the equation of the axis of symmetry. Now, if you notice, the curve is symmetrical. They are asking for an equation. So we have to write an equation, and an equation has an equal sign. If I draw a line, this line here, this line is where the curve is symmetrical. Do you all see that? The curve, one half of the curve will fit exactly on the other half of the curve. So at this point, the curve is symmetrical. So at this line here, the curve is symmetrical. So if you notice, it is midway between 2 and 3. This point has a value of 2.5. They ask you for an equation. You are not to put 2.5. That is not an equation. An equation contains an equal sign. This passes through the x-axis. So the equation starts with x equal to 2.5. Or you can write x equal to 2.5. So a couple of things. They ask for an equation, so it must involve an equal sign. You do not put 2.5 alone. You will get that wrong, right? Admit Charissa, please.
So you can do it the other way.
What other way?
As in like do it like do it vertically and use it as 3. Like the other side on the upper y equals 3, or that would be wrong.
You mean on this side here?
Yeah.
No, remember, just like a leaf, right? So if I have a leaf here, and I'm sure you all seen leaves like this. This is the axis of symmetry. because this half fits exactly on this half, right? Now, if you notice the curve now, this half of the curve fits exactly on this side. So we want the line where we can cut this curve into two equal pieces, right? So Serafina, is just like I tell you, here what? You take this curve and cut it into two. What is the axis of symmetry, or what is the line that you can draw that this part folds exactly onto this side? And it is an X equation, X equal. So it must start with that. What you are saying here, this is an equation Y equal. We don't want that. The equation must start with X equal. You understand?
Yeah, miss. I thought it was the equation for the axis of summary of the whole graph, not just the curve.
No, no, no.
That's why I didn't say
All right. Well, I know, but I'm glad you asked that, because now is the time to ask questions. And I'm sure that there's somebody in the class probably thinking the same thing as you. And we all here to benefit for the exam next week, Wednesday. So thank you so much for your contribution, right? And the rest of you, if you all want to ask anything, now is the time to ask it, because we are literally days away before the exam, right? State the maximum value of the function. Well, here what? This is the maximum curve. We want the highest value of the curve. They want the highest value of the curve. So this here, this is the point here, the highest value on the curve. And it is a y coordinate, or f of x. Right now on my curve, I will go with 9.5. Right now, it is probably a little less than 9.5, but because the graph is so small, I really can't see it. So they want the value. I will have to put probably 9.5. They didn't ask for an equation, so any value that you put here will suffice. You do not have to put an equal sign. They just want the value, and they are asking you for the highest point on the curve. So this is called the maximum point, or the highest point on the curve. Notice that the highest point is a y coordinate, right? So let's get something straight. The axis of symmetry is x. The maximum point is a y, right? All right, is anybody writing? Is anybody still writing?
No, miss.
Write down the coordinates of the point where the line crosses the x-axis. Now we need to get this straight, and we need to understand this. So let us write this. The equation of the x-axis is y equals to 0. Let me repeat that. The equation of the x-axis is y equals to 0. The reason being, on the x-axis, we have x values, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y is actually 0. So on the x-axis, y is 0. Let's do the same thing for the y-axis. The equation of the y-axis is x equals to 0. And if we don't know that by now, we need to learn it. So this here is the y-axis. these values are y values. X is 0. So if we don't know this by now, we need to learn it. The equation of the x-axis is y equals to 0, because on the x-axis we have x values. That is self-explanatory. The equation of the y-axis, x is 0, because on the y-axis, the values that we have are y values and x is 0. So write down the coordinates of the point where this line crosses the x-axis. So you need to just substitute y equals to 0. So the equation is 0 is equal to 3 minus a half x. We need to solve for x. So therefore, if I move this across here, a half x is equal to 3. Find for x. X is 3 divided by a half. Work it out. Three divided by a half is
6.
x is 6. Who could confirm that?
Yes, miss.
So the coordinates that we have is 6, 0. So do you see when it crosses the x-axis, we have an x value and y is 0. Do you notice that?
Yes.
The next one now, we're going to substitute x to be 0. So y is equal to 3 minus a half by 0. We know whenever we multiply any number by 0, we will get 0. So y is equal to 3. So therefore, x is 0, y is 3. So here we have 0, 3. On this side, x is 0, we have a y value because it crosses the y-axis. So if it crosses the y-axis, we have a y value. X is 0. All right? So we want to make sure that this is crystal clear. We want to make sure we understand that completely. The next one is what they ask us to draw this line. So we are going to plot on our graph the point 6, 0 and the point 0, 3. Because to draw a straight line, we only need 2 points. We only need 2 points to draw a straight line. And the next one, we want to know where the curve cuts the line for 2 marks. So in this question, there was nothing that we was not supposed to be able to answer. We were supposed to be able to get full marks, right? So we're going to 6, 0 and 0, 3. So let's go to our graph. 6, 0 and 0, 3. So we have 0, 3. This is 1 point and 6, 0. You want to take your pencil and your ruler and draw a straight line. Passing through those 2 points. The next thing is the points of intersection, where the curve cuts the line. So we have 2 points of intersection. The points of intersection where the line cuts the curve. This here is 1 point of intersection, and the coordinates of that point here is 0, 3. So that is my first answer, 0, 3. So that is 1 point of intersection. The next point here, this is 5.5. Here is 5.5. And this is probably about 0.25. Now you draw it and you can measure it accurately, a quarter of 0.25. So we have a quarter and 5.5. So the points of intersection that they are looking for is the point where the line cuts the curve. So we have 5.5 and a quarter. So check it on your graph and see if you could identify the 2 points where the curve and the line intersect one another. All right, are we finished? Are we finished?
Yes, miss.
Did you all get approximately these 2 values that I have on my screen?
Yeah, miss.
All right, so we will write that on the dotted line. So we have 0, 3, and 5.5, a quarter. All right, so we're moving along. Now they did mention that they are bringing linear programming. So this is a question on linear programming, and this is what managers use to maximize the profit in their company, right? So this is an everyday use of mathematics. Mala buys 2 types of mobile phones, B-Flow and C-Flex. So we want to underline the key things. So she buys B-Flow and C-Flex phones. One B-Flow mobile costs $60, while one C-Flex costs $80. She buys X number of B-Flows and Y number of C-Flex. Mala must not spend more than $1,200. So in the linear programming question, we need to underline the key things that will help us write our 2 inequalities or our 2 equations. All right. So, Brittany, if Mala bought one B-Flow phone and one phone costs $60, how much money would she spend?
$60.
$60. Rihanna, if Mala bought one C-Flex phone, and one C-Flex costs $80. How much money would she spend?
$80.
$80. But we don't know how many phones she bought. All we know that one phone costs $60. One B-Flow costs $60. So X B-Flow phones will cost 60 multiplied by X, which is 60X. Because if it was one phone, X would have been 60 by 1, $60. If it is two phones, 60 by 2, 120. So we have that. Let's go to C-Flex now. One C-Flex costs $80. So Y C-Flex will cost 80 multiplied by Y, which is 80Y. Because if it was one phone, she would have spent $80. If it were two phones, she would spend 80 by 2. If it were three phones, she would spend 80 by 3. So the inequality that we want is 60X plus 80Y, and she must not spend $1,200. It is just like I am giving you $1,200 to go and buy some groceries. You know in your possession you have $1,200. So you cannot exceed $1,200. But can you spend less than $1,200? Yes or no? Can you spend less than $1,200?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is less than or equal to 1,200. Jonathan, good to have you in our class today. All right. So this is the equation. And please let us try and understand this linear programming because they're bringing it. Right? They're bringing it. You must not spend more than $1,200. You don't have more than $1,200 in your pocket. So if you go to the grocery shop, the most amount of money you can spend is $1,200. Or you can choose to keep some back and have some change. So this is the first equation. Do you all understand that?
Yes, miss.
Right. So must not spend less than or equal to. The next one is the number of B-Flow must be greater than or equal to. Well, oh God, we know the sign for that. Greater than or equal to the number of C-Flex phones. So this equation is X must be greater than or equal to Y, because that is what they say. The number of B-Flow, and what is the number? The number is X. The symbol, this is the symbol. What is the number of C-Flex? The symbol is Y. All right, so take down whatever you need from the screen quickly. Now, let us try and simplify this inequality. So we're going to divide each term in this inequality by, let us divide it by 10 first. We can't do nothing with these large numbers. So let us divide each term by 10. So divide each term by 10 and write it down. All right, so you have 6x plus 8y less than or equal to 120. Yes,
Yes,
and let us
miss.
divide each term now by 2. So divide each term by 2. We're just trying to simplify the inequality. It is not required until the next part, but we can do it one time. So divide each term by 2. So you have 3x plus 4y less than or equal to 60. Do you all have that?
Yes, miss.
All right, so we're going again. Now we're going to get our graph paper and we're going to draw the graph because we need to understand what's going on. There was an error by CXC for this question. 20 is supposed to be here because if you notice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks and then we have 5. But here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 20 is supposed to be here. They put 20 at the 5th block. So just draw up your graph just like what you see on the screen, and we're going to label the common region because when we have an inequality, it's the common region that we are trying to find. So go ahead. Notice on my y-axis, the largest number is 20. So I couldn't possibly use the equation with 1200. There is no value on the y-axis like 1200. So you're expected to know to simplify this inequality. So let me know when you have the graph drawn up. So the first thing we're going to draw is x equal to y. So we have x values, 5, 10, 15, 20. So x and y takes the same value. So x is 5, y is 5. That's my first point. X is 10, y is 10. That is my second point. X is 15, y is 15. X is 20, y is 20. Notice it is a straight line. So go ahead and draw it. So this is the line x equal to y.
Finish, miss.
All right. So can someone tell me the coordinates of this point here? X is 10, how much is Y? This point, X is 10, how much is Y?
5.
5, very good. Could somebody tell me the coordinates of this point here? X is 15, Y is? X is 15, Y is? Ten, miss? 10, 10. Thank you, Nicole. So X is 15, Y is 10. Do you all see that? Now, which number is bigger here? The X coordinate or the Y coordinate?
The X.
Which of the two? The X. So therefore, this region here is X greater than Y. This region here is X greater than Y. Because as far as I know, the X value is bigger. Do you all understand that so far? Do you all understand that?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next one, the next line we have to draw is 3x plus 4y equal to 60. And remember in the question we did just now, we just need to substitute, we just need to get two values to draw a straight line. So the two values that we are going to use is when x is equal to 0 and when x is 20. You could use any value. So we could use x as 0, y as 0. Let's do that. Let's do that. Substitute x to be 0. So 3 by 0 plus 4y is equal to 60. So this will give me 0. 4y is equal to 60. How much is 1y? How much is 1y?
That's 15.
15. So the first point we're going to plot is 0, 15. So this is my first value here. X is 0, y is 15. This is 0, 15. That is my first point. So we need another point now to draw a straight line. So the next thing is substitute y to be 0 now. So 3x plus 4 by y, which is 0, is equal to 60. This will give me 0. 3x is equal to 60. How much is x? 60 divided by 3, x is 20. So the next point we're going to draw is 20, 0. So when we have a linear equation, it is best to just substitute x as 0 and substitute y as 0. That will give you 2 points for you to draw a straight line. So the common region now is this part here. Where the two lines intersect there, the common region is this part in yellow. And this is what we call R. So the purpose of the linear programming is to draw two straight lines and find the common region. Now, because I identified x greater than y to be this region here, it was easy when I draw the line there to find R. So that helps as well, right? And it takes some practice as well, right? So take down whatever you need on the screen and let us go to the next part of the question. Are we finished so far?
Yes, miss.
All right. The last part of the question, we want the total number of mobile phones is represented by X plus Y. According to the graph, what is the largest possible X plus Y? So they are asking you for the largest point on the vertex. We have 3 vertices, right? This point is 0, 0. This point here is, this is 5, right? This, we could get the coordinates here, and this point is 20, 0. Now, when you add this value here and this value, you wouldn't get more than 20. So I'm not even putting that there. So which of these 2 points here, when you add the X and the Y, you will get a greater number? This one or this one? Zero plus 0 will give us
0.
0,
right? And 20 plus 0.
20,
20.
Yes. Right. So which of the 2 pair of coordinates will get a larger number, from the 0 plus 0 or the 20 plus 0?
20 plus 0.
So the answer here is X is equal to 20, Y is equal to 0. So the answer is 20. And whenever we have to find the maximum profit or anything like that, we are looking for the points and the vertices, right? This one would not be more than 20, so I didn't even consider this, right? Now, here, X squared is positive. So this graphs of function is what we call a minimum. This has a minimum point or a minimum value. So this graph is going to look U-shaped. So this is how this graph is going to look. The one that we looked at before, the X squared value was negative. So that was the upside down U, but here X squared is positive. So this is a U shape, right? So they gave you the values, and if any of the values was missing, you just use your calculator, substitute the corresponding value here, and you would get the respective value, right? They ask you to plot the 4 points and draw the function. So here's the graph. Let me put the graph. Are you all hearing me?
Yes, miss.
Can you all see the screen now?
Yes, miss.
All right. So we want the maximum or minimum value. This curve has a minimum value because x squared is positive. So we are looking for the point when the curve turns. And it is a little more than 4, so I will take negative 4.25. So we want the peak here. This is called the maximum, the minimum point, sorry. That is the turning point. So this here is called the minimum point or the turning point. So that is the point where the curve turns and it goes back up. That is the value they are looking for. And I will take it as negative 4.25 or 4, because if you notice, these two values here give me negative 4. So the minimum point lies between these two values. So it is the same value here, it is the same value here. And to get this curve here, it must go a little lower than 4. Do you all see that? You all see that?
Yes, miss.
Right. So we want again the axis of symmetry. So we want the line where we could cut the curve into 2 equal pieces. And this line on my graph here, well, it's not drawn to scale, but on the curve here, this line that I have is where x equals a half. Could somebody check it and see if it is where x equals a minus a half? Where x equals to minus a half, this here is symmetrical. It cuts the curve into 2 equal pieces. Could somebody check it on your end and see if that is the point? Where x equals to minus a half, it splits the curve into 2 equal pieces. Could somebody check it? X equals to minus a half. This is the point here where we cut the curve into 2 equal pieces. Could somebody confirm that?
Yes, miss.
All right. Next one now, the last one for this evening. This is negative. So the curve is going to look upside down. We want to find the value for negative 2 and 2. Let's go quickly. F of negative 2 is 3 plus 2 by negative 2 minus negative 2 squared. F of 2 is 3 plus 2 by 2 minus 2 squared. Work it out quickly for 1 mark. You can put everything in the calculator and get one answer. All right, does anybody have a value?
Negative 5, miss.
Yes. You are correct, Josiah. Negative 5. And what's the next one?
3.
Very good. So you would have scored 1 mark. We go in again. We know it is the upside down U because this value here is negative. So that is something that we know. So we need to plot these 2 points, -2, -5. Let me write it here. -2, -5. And this point here is 2, 3. So we're going to plot 2, 3. So just follow along with me. -2, -5 is this point here. And 2, 3 is this point here. Notice the curve is symmetrical. So I'm just going to take my pencil and I'm going to draw a smooth curve passing through the points. Right? We know it's an upside down U. So we would have scored 2 marks. So here we get 2, and Josiah give us the answer here, we have 1 mark. So to plot the 2 points, we have 3 marks so far, right? We need 5 or more in each question. State the coordinates of the maximum point. So they want the X and the Y. So the maximum point is this turning point here. So the X value here is 1, and the Y value here is 4. Do you all see that? Do you all see that?
Yes, miss.
X is 1, Y is 4. So the maximum point is 1, 4. The next thing they want, the gradient of values of X for which f of X is more than 0. So they're really looking for more than 0. They're looking for this part of the curve here. This part is where X is more than 0. The other part is the negative. So they're looking for the positive part, which is my yellow part there. So the values that they are looking for is between -1 and 3. These X values here, the curve is positive. So we're going back, -1 less than or equal to X, less than or equal to 3. And they want the gradient where f of X at X equal to 1. Now, at X equal to 1, this is a horizontal line passing through X equal to 1. X equal to 1 is this line here, sorry. This line. This is the line X equal to 1. X equal to 1. Does this line slope? Is this a sloping line? Is this line sloping in any way? The gradient of f of X at X equal to 1. So at X equal to 1, this is a straight line, and the gradient is 0. So for a straight line, the gradient is 0. So a line that slopes has a gradient, but a vertical or a horizontal line has 0 gradient. So that is something we're supposed to know, 0 gradient, right? Before my iPad dies here, I want to do this one. Mr. Thomas makes X bottles of juice and Y cakes. So we want to write that. X juice he makes and Y cakes. He makes at least. At least means greater than or equal to. So write down that. The word at least means greater than or equal to. And no more than, less than or equal to. So these 2 phrases in linear programming, we need to be mindful of. Write 2 inequalities to represent this information. So he makes at least 20 bottles of juice. So he can make either 20 bottles or more than. At least 20 bottles of juice. So that is the first inequality. He can make no more than 15 cakes. No more than is less than or equal to 15. So this is the two inequalities. And you see this two phrase? Write it down and write down the symbol. Each day, he uses $163 to make bottles of juice and cakes. The cost to make a bottle of juice is $3.50, while the cost to make a cake is $5.25. So $3.50 by the cost to make a juice. So this is $3.50 by X. The cost to make a cake is $5.25. So this is $5.25Y. All he has is 163. So it's less than or equal to 163. So take down that in the mean one. All right. Do we have those equations?
Yes, miss.
We will have, right. So the next part of the question is, and we will get 2 marks for this, right? And the reason why is less than or equal to 163 is because he could utilize all the money or he could spend some of it. Show that on a given day, it is not possible for Mr. Thomas to make 50 bottles of juice and 12 cakes. So now substitute X to be 50 and Y to be 12. So the equation before is 350X plus 525Y. So substitute X as 50 and Y as 12. And see what you get. All right. Did anybody get an answer?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, what is it?
238.
No, tell me something. If I give you $163 to make juice and cake and your bill is $238, can you make 50 juice and 12 cakes?
No, miss.
No. So no, it is not possible since 238 is greater than 163. That is the reason. Right? So the value here is greater than the amount that Mr. Thomas has. So that is why it is impossible for him to use that amount of money to make 50 bottles of juice and 12 cakes. All right, so everything that we have done today is going to come next week, Wednesday. So I will put the recording a little bit later. All I ask you to do is to go back through these questions. I am going to send the questions to you on WhatsApp as soon as the class is finished. And I want you to redo the questions. Redo the questions because it will help you, and we will try and maximize the marks on question 8. Right, so I'm sending the worksheet for you to practice, and I am going to send the recording in a little while. Now, on Sunday, we have 2 questions to do. We have question 9 and question 10, because next week we're only going to do multiple choice. On Sunday, is it possible for us to start class at 1 p.m.?
Yes, miss.
Can we start class at 1 p.m. on Sunday?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss. Yeah, miss.
All right. So just because it is the last Sunday and we have 2 big questions to do, we are starting at 1 p.m. instead of 2. So we have no lessons tomorrow. Class is on Sunday at 1, and we continue Monday and Tuesday. I know that you all have English on Tuesday, right? But when you get home, we are going to do the multiple choice practice. All right. So what I will do, I will start at 1 p.m. And for those of you all who can't join in at 1, join in at 2 p.m. when you can, and the class will be recorded. Is that okay?
Yes, miss.
Right? So the class is recorded. For those of you all who are unable to make the 1 p.m., join in at 2 as normal. And for the 1 hour, you can look at the recording. All right? So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys Sunday at 1. All right?
Okay, miss.
Okay, miss. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.